Hi everybody and welcome back to another CYT-Crypto video. Today I want to talk about something a wee bit different and it's going into the realms of kind of strange, this one. But I want to talk about something called the assumption effect. Now, and specifically we're talking with regards to Ethereum. So let me explain what the assumption effect is. The assumption effect is really when you assume something's going to happen in your life. We're talking about personally, when you assume something's going to happen, then generally it probably will kind of happen. Because there's certain unconscious factors going on at play here, subconscious factors going on at play here as well. So the way to get something that you want in your life is to assume it's going to happen and to take on the identity of it happening kind of already as well. I know we're kind of going into law of attraction stuff and kind of woo-woo kind of stuff like that as well. It works, it happens, we're doing it every single day of our lives. You just don't realise it. We're doing it on an unconscious level or a subconscious level. So the assumption effect is basically stating that what you assume is going to happen will happen. And this is what is happening in crypto just now, specifically with regards to kind of Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's happened with Bitcoin already, whereas over the last couple of years, we assumed that Bitcoin was going to reach a certain price because a lot of people were talking about it. So it soon became this kind of network assumption effect, whereby because everybody told us the price of Bitcoin was going to go to $5,000, it did a couple of years ago. And then we kind of step up to another level, another kind of collective consciousness level, whereby we think, okay, we're now talking about Bitcoin going to $10,000. When it got to that level, we started speaking about it going to $20,000. When it got to that level, we're going higher and higher all the time. Till now, we're literally talking about Bitcoin going to the price of $320,000 or $500,000 or even $1 million. We're kind of assuming that is going to happen. So it's not a case of, oh, it would be great if it did happen. It's a case of when it happens. Now, it's becoming more certain in our minds. So we're getting this mass assumption effect, if you will. And we're doing it in our own kind of private lives, but we do it on a kind of collective consciousness level as well. And this is now what's happening with Ethereum. We're assuming that Ethereum is going to go to $10,000 on a collective consciousness level. And we're given all the reasons for it. We're talking about ETH 2.0, we're talking about DeFi, we're talking about NFTs, we're talking about the triple halvening, we're talking about everything that's going to go on, the gas fees coming down with Ethereum. So we're given these reasons why it's going to reach $10,000. Whereas $10,000 kind of last year, it wasn't even within the realms of possibility that Ethereum was going to go to $10,000. When it was back down to $84, I think it went down to. But now we've got this assumption that it's going to reach $10,000. And it is. There's no question. It is going to reach $10,000. It's not a case of if, it's a case of, okay, when is it going to reach it? Is it going to be this year? Probably, yes, in my opinion, yes, it is going to be this year. But could it go higher? It probably will go higher as well and before it comes back down. So my thinking is going to go up to $15,000, come back down to $10,000. So we're going to have a $10,000 Ethereum by the end of this year. Next year, we're going to see even higher. We're talking about $20,000, possibly $30,000, possibly $40,000 next year as well. And then after that, I sincerely believe we're going to reach $100,000 at one stage because of everything that's going on and because of the scarcity effect as well and because of institutions coming in, which we're seeing just now as well. And that's another thing we're seeing with Bitcoin. So what happens with the assumption effect, it starts at a micro level. So you are, say, for example, the only person talking about Ethereum going to $10,000 and you're doing YouTube videos, for example, but you're the only person talking about that. Then other people start listening to you and they say, actually, that guy's talking sense. He's talking about all the reasons why Ethereum could go to $10,000 and they start talking about it as well. So it's building up this network assumption effect as well. So it starts on the micro level and it kind of spreads and spreads and spreads. And what we've got now is spread that much that it's gone out to the institutions as well. Now, the institutions have been buying up Ethereum for, I would say, at least this year. Certainly not last year when it was $100 or something. But I'd say at least this year they're starting to really think about Ethereum in a much, much bigger scale, which is why they're talking about Ethereum ETFs, etc. as well. So it is kind of going to happen. So as I say, it starts at micro level, now it's reached that macro level, and exactly the same thing happened with Bitcoin. It started on the micro level. We've got Satoshi Nakamoto. He kind of started it. He was just the only person talking about it. And there's a couple of other things going on as well. So it started at micro level, then the network effects started happening, and pretty soon institutions got involved, which is where we are now with kind of Bitcoin. And we just assume it's going to go up to 100,000, 250,000, 500,000, and it will because of that. Same thing's happening with Ethereum. We've got the institutions on board. We've reached that level of the network assumption effect that the institutions are on board now. So this is it for Ethereum. This is why it's going to get to $10,000, and this is why it's going to be 20,000, 50,000 in the future as well. And what happens with the assumption effect, particularly in crypto trading, and when we're kind of hodling, when we think about hodling, what happens is if Ethereum was to fall by 50%, we now see it as a buying opportunity. We're not fearful. So we lose that kind of fear factor in the assumption effect because we just assume it's going to go back up to $10,000 eventually. So we buy the dips. We sell other projects to buy the dips on Ethereum. And that's what's going to happen. If Ethereum was to fall by kind of 50% tomorrow, I would not be phased at all because I just assume that it is going to be $10,000 one day. So why wouldn't I buy the dip? And that's what's happening just now with Ethereum. And it happens with other projects as well. We've seen it happening with kind of Chainlink, for example, as well. We just assume that it's going to go to a certain figure. We assume it's probably going to reach $100, and it will, because that network effect is starting to happen again. Same with XRP. XRP was kind of a joke 3-4 years ago when everybody was talking about it going to $5 and $6. Now look at it. The assumption effect is kicking in with these projects as well. It's going to happen with Polkadot. It's going to happen with Solana as well. It's going to happen with a lot of these large caps. It's going to happen with the kind of smaller caps coming in as well. Everyone's talking about band protocol. The assumption effects start kicking in. So this is going to happen with the likes of Veracity as well. The assumption effect, that's going to go to $1 when it's 3 cents just now. That's going to happen. Veracity will get to $1. Obviously, the tech's still got to be there, because it's still got to be underlying reasons why it's going to get to $1, for example, Veracity. But the assumption effect is that it's going to get to $1, and it will get to $1. And then when it gets to $1, if the tech is still there and it's been kind of utilised and kind of used, and there are going to be partnerships, etc., then we'll be talking about a $3 kind of Veracity. Then we'll be talking about a $10 Veracity. So that's happening just now with Ethereum. We're there just now. We've got this mass network assumption effect just now, whereby the institutions are now on board, buying up big time. So we're going to see a $10,000 Ethereum. So I just wanted to speak about that today. I know it sounds a bit kind of out there, but even if you look at it from a personal point of view as well, if you kind of look at the kind of assumptions that you've got in your life, because a lot of people in crypto assume that they're not going to make any money from it. So what happens? They don't. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you've got to assume from a micro level, for your own sake, for your level, you've got to assume that you're going to make money in crypto, that you're going to kind of become a better trader, you're going to become a better kind of hodler, or you're going to become a better at picking the right crypto projects, for example. When you start to assume that, you start to think differently. When you start to think differently, you start to trade differently. When you start to trade differently, that's when you start making the money. So you've got to think differently. You've got to make these assumptions in your own life as well, because these assumptions then become beliefs. And this is what's happening with Ethereum. The assumptions have become the beliefs on a mass level. And this is why Ethereum is going to go so high. Okay, I know that sounds a bit strange, and I hope you understand what I'm talking about here, but let me know in the comments what you think about this. If you think it's all a bunch of baloney, let me know. If you think, Steve, you're spot on or whatever, just let me know in the comments down below. Okay, until the next video, namaste, take care, bye now.